I take back everything I just said. Max Verstappen, I won't respect your greatness until you do it in a Haas.
Yeah.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Revved Up Podcast. Thank you for joining us wherever you choose to get your podcast. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe, rate and review us. My name is Marwan Osman, and I am joined by a karting legend by the name of Edgar O'Neill, fresh out of Nashville. Edgar, how's it going, man?
It's good. I'm excited. I miss this. I miss this a lot.
Yeah, we're a week late, but
Mhm.
hey, life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah,
F1
yeah.
is back. We are
I
back.
blame the break. It wouldn't have happened if there wasn't a break.
Yes, the break just threw us off because we went on break and we had to get back out of break, but we're back. And now we're here to discuss the 2023 Italian Grand Prix. And I just want to say, so I'll just kick this off. This was actually one of the more entertaining races that we've had all season,
Yeah.
and a lot of that is owed to one Carlos Sainz. Now,
Yeah.
when I wasn't able to watch qualifying live, but of course, I saw the results, and the
Yeah.
first thing I did was send it straight to you because
Yep.
that's anytime I see any sort of shocking F1 news, I send that straight to you.
Mhm.
Now, Carlos Sainz getting pole position should not qualify as a shocking piece of F1 news, generally speaking,
Yeah.
big picture
Okay.
speaking. But here in 2023, the year of Max Verstappen, anyone not named Max Verstappen getting pole position is a noteworthy accomplishment. So I'll just ask you this: going into the race with Carlos Sainz on pole, what was the feeling? What was the mood like?
I was definitely at least optimistic because I did also watch the qual. I didn't watch it live. I watched the qualifying highlights. But from what they put together in the highlights, it looked like. Well, first, I also want to give a shout out to Alexander Albon because, also in qualifying, both of them were on tears this weekend. But obviously, Carlos looked really good in qualifying. So I was optimistic because I was like, oh, he might do it. But then I also remembered what team he's a part of.
Hmm. Well, hey, if we're talking about Albon, he's racing like he's not going to be in a Williams for much longer. So
Mm.
credit to him. But we'll come back to Albon. I wanna just stay on Carlos Sainz for a little longer because what for me, okay, I saw him starting on pole, Max right behind him, and we had the Ferrari sandwich there.
Mm.
Max Verstappen in between Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Now, how were you expecting this battle to play out? Was it first lap? Because me personally, I was expecting that opening straight into that chicane, Max was going to find a way to squeeze past him. But to his credit, Carlos Sainz cut him off. He had to worry about Charles Leclerc fighting him. And he
Yeah.
kept that thing going for 15 laps, which is 14 laps longer than I was expecting.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. One, I felt like you. I bet everyone felt like you during that.
Mhm.
Man, it was surprising, but it was so nice watching him defend. And then Max coming with that was naughty. It was naughty, but it was nice.
Yeah, and just like I was saying, this was one of the more entertaining races that we've had all season. Now, whether or not that actually means something is, we'll say, subjective. We're setting the bar a little
Yeah.
low here.
Yeah.
Although we've had some good races, all things considered, this year we've had some fairly entertaining races, and this was definitely one of them. Now, I think if you're F1, this is probably the best case scenario. You have Max Verstappen taking the lead somewhat early on, and then just coasting away, and you have no safety cars. But throughout the whole race, I found myself thoroughly entertained. So I think this is actually the best case scenario that we have here. Um, you feel the same way? Entertaining
Oh
race,
yeah,
right?
100%. This was probably yeah. I I was about to say this is probably going to be the best race that we get this season. I hope it's not, but it might be.
So yeah, I mean, best race this season. We've had some solid ones. I still think Australia might be the current best race we've had this season.
Okay.
Um, but this is definitely up there. But now, okay, I just want to talk about Monza as a circuit, though.
Okay.
Um, what I'm about to say might sound like an insult. Some people
Okay.
might take it that way, but I think Monza is what you get if you let a toddler draw an F1 circuit. Um, now, look, it's
Temple
the
of Speed, buddy.
I know
Temple of
this is
Speed.
what I'm saying here. It might be blasphemous because this is a historically rich circuit, and it's just for me a testament of sometimes simple is better. You
Okay.
can do more with less. It's only I think 11 turns, but just the whole layout of it with that chicane right after the main straight, long looping slow turn, hit another chicane. That just sets it up beautifully. We saw how Max Verstappen was able to overtake Carlos Sainz. Not on the first chicane. It was after Carlos Sainz had some trouble getting out of that
Mhm.
first chicane. And so I think just the whole layout of Monza makes it a fun track, good for overtakes, which we saw plenty of. Well, we saw plenty of battles, but not a whole lot
Oh,
of overtakes, really.
yeah, that's a good
Good.
point. Maybe it's good for defending.
Yeah.
Well, I
Um,
guess all tracks are probably okay. I take that back. I'm gonna walk that back.
no, but so just the whole setup of the track is I think great, even though it's simple,
Even though you said it was drawn by a toddler.
which is why I say it looks like it was drawn by a toddler. I actually have a personal history with Monza myself. I was I was on a cruise this past April, and there was an F1 simulator, and the track that I was on was Monza. And so while I have to say, speaking from my own experience as a F1 simulator driver,
Mhm.
Monza is not as easy as it looks. Now, while it's simple, it's definitely not easy. So overall, though, what's your opinion on Monza as a circuit?
I love Monza because I also have a personal history with Monza.
Wow, what are
Oh,
the odds?
yeah. Because it was the first race in 2019 that I fully watched from start to finish.
And you were hooked ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, because it started with I saw Monaco in a diner um one morning, and then I just was looking up the race highlights on YouTube up until the Italian Grand Prix, and then I just was like, you know what, I'll wake up and watch it. And then I watched the full thing. Charles Leclerc won. It was beautiful. I loved it. I was hooked.
Out of sheer curiosity, I had to Google the podium for that. Um, Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and
Mhm.
Lewis Hamilton.
It was a good year.
That was Mercedes doing Mercedes things, and Charles Leclerc just coming up out of nowhere. I think he was still on the rise, on the come
Yeah.
up back in
Seb was still his
2019.
teammate.
Wow, looking at this now, this grid has not changed very much. Wow, just out of the top 10, I'm just gonna name these names: Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hulkenberg, Alex Albon,
Oh my
Sergio
God.
Perez, Max Verstappen, and now we have Antonio Giovinazzi.
Okay.
Giovinazzi.
Well, two of those had already left and were gone for a couple of seasons, and
Yep.
then
So
come
in
back.
that time, we've had two guys leave and come back, which yeah, that's it's interesting. We are definitely in an era of drivers here. These guys are
Yeah.
sticking around, and I guess we could have a whole conversation on this whole era of drivers themselves. We
Yeah.
have these young guys. Well, Max Verstappen, he's young, but he's been
Mhm.
around for a while. You could
Yeah.
also say the same about Charles Leclerc. But we have these young guys, and this is not where I was expecting this podcast to go, but we're here. So we're going to
Yeah.
stay here for a little bit. You have Lewis Hamilton, who is exiting his prime, on the tail end of his career. And same with Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
We have those two vets, and then we have this group of young, talent-rich guys who
Mhm.
all seem to be close friends. Overall,
Yeah.
though, how do you feel about the collective talent that we have in Formula One?
I mean, I think it's great. I think there are still like questions. Because like it is weird that like the friend group are the top of the young drivers.
Hmm.
Because who are we thinking of? We're thinking of like Max, Charles, George, Alex. And then on
Lando.
the other side of that, you have Yuki, who's not really up there. Pierre Gasly's not really up there. Ocon,
Hmm.
who why did he DNF? I actually don't remember. Do you?
I think the car was just struggling.
Okay.
He was not having a great day. But yeah, it's just interesting to see. These guys are not going anywhere. This is our group of F1 drivers
Yeah.
that we're used to them now, but we're give it 10 years. I don't expect the 2019 Italian Grand Prix to look a whole lot different from the 2029 Italian Grand Prix, just just based on the talent that we currently have in Formula One. But that is not where I was expecting to go. That was a slight little detour. I want to talk about one of these talented youngsters that we have by the name of Max Verstappen. So I'll just I'll give you the floor first. Just overall thoughts on his performance. We're running out of ways to talk about how great he is, but just go ahead and give
Yeah.
it a try.
It's I was like thinking because I'm like it's weird. It's a weird feeling because like I want to give him flowers because he did just break a world record. Like he made history. It's never been done. But also, yeah, man, 10 races in a row. Like,
hmm Yeah, and like we were talking about this. God, I want to say 5 races ago. We were talking about, are we getting complacent with Max Verstappen and his winning? And
yeah.
since then, he's just continued to win and continued to dominate. And I honestly, I said back then that it's a compliment that we're even having this discussion. So here we are, 5 races later, still having the discussion. But I think it's up to all of us to not get complacent with Max Verstappen and his dominance, because 10 wins in a row is
Yeah,
insane.
you're
There
right. You're right.
there is a driver on this grid that will remain nameless who is about 200 races into his career and has yet to hit a podium. This is a Haas driver who may or may not be named Nico Hulkenberg, but
Mm,
that doesn't matter. It's just insane that we can have those two sides of it all, where we have 200 races, no podiums, versus 10 wins in a row. It's
yeah.
insane. So
That's actually a really good way to frame it.
I think it's important that we
Yeah.
don't lose sight of how impossible and difficult it is to win a single race or even a single podium. So just what he's doing it's almost hard to just wrap my mind around, but he's doing it.
Wow, you
And
converted me. I'm now happy about it.
I look, it's sometimes you got to just stop hating and appreciate greatness. There's really not much you can do, and
Fair.
Max Verstappen has forced that upon me. Where there's really nothing you can say besides this is just pure greatness that we are watching, and you can either be a hater or you can enjoy the ride and say, "Hey, I was around for this. This man is one of the best Formula One drivers that we have ever seen." This is a conversation that we're gonna have in the future.
Yeah.
I'm projecting this conversation right now. He's a really really good Formula One driver and is by far the best on the grid, um, the best on the grid.
Yeah.
And in the future, we will definitely be having discussions about his
You know
all
what's
time
going to be
greatness.
like the one detracting point from that discussion?
But
He was only in a Red Bull. He only did it in Red Bulls.
do it in a Haas. I
Yeah, I
dare
do
you,
it.
Max Verstappen. I take back everything I just said. Max Verstappen, I won't respect your greatness until you do it in a Haas.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. But no, he's 10 wins in a row for Max Verstappen, another record. He's chasing probably a million more records that he has ahead of him. I've lost track of all of them.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does he remain undefeated for the rest of the season?
I I hope not. Like how at that point, like let's just say he wins every single race for the rest of the season. That's gonna put him at what? Like maybe 18 wins in a row?
Yeah, 19 wins in a row. We have
19
9 races
wins in a
left.
row till the wow. Does the FIA step in? I was like, Max, we can't invite you next year, man.
So he's projected to clinch this whole thing in 2 races in Japan on the 24th. We'll see what happens after that. After he gets that, he's pretty much just out there for fun,
Yeah,
just doing
maybe
it.
he's like, I'll take any other car after this. Like,
Now the question is Max Verstappen coasting in a Red Bull versus the field. I'm still not sure who I would take in that battle. Um,
yeah,
Now we are seeing some moments, here and there, like qualifying, and Uh, Carlos Sainz holding on to that lead for 15 laps.
Yeah,
We are seeing signs that they're inching a little closer, but man, it's not even close. There's no one touching this guy,
yeah,
including his own teammate, by the way, who also happens to be in a Red Bull. Um, yeah, good for Sergio. Let's talk about it. It was good for Sergio.
okay,
Okay, he had a rough qualifying, but at the same time, I do try and hold myself back because this is what you're supposed to be doing with the
yeah,
car that you have. Um, Tell me I'm not being a hater right now, because actually one thing I want you to do is to always tell me if I'm being a hater.
okay.
Right? Is
I don't
it
think
fair?
you're being a hater.
Okay,
It is
so
just like,
what I'm saying is fair, right?
yeah, no, it's very fair.
Okay. But to answer my own question about Max Verstappen and remaining undefeated,
Mhm.
why not? Sure. Uh,
Yeah,
at this point, I wouldn't surprise me. We
I
have,
do. I do wonder how we would feel at the end of the season if it happened.
it's kind of weird. He's been pretty nonchalant about all of this, hasn't he? I
Yeah.
think he's gotten pretty bored with it. I know he's had some interviews where he's talking about I don't want to be doing this forever.
Oh, well.
So I think the only thing that'll stop Max from completely obliterating all of these records is probably Max Verstappen himself.
Yeah.
He might just get bored with all of this and say, "Huh, I'm on to bigger and better things."
Yeah. Because I bet he wants fights at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause even like Carlos and Charles, like at the end of it, they were like, "That was great. I love fighting each other."
yeah, and hey, we all enjoy it too. So let's keep that going.
Yeah.
But speaking of Carlos and Charles Leclerc, let's talk about Ferrari in a way that we're not really used to, because this
Yeah.
I feel like is going to be a largely positive conversation that we're going to have, right?
Yeah.
So overall, just what were your overall takes from this performance we had from Ferrari?
I thought it was really good. I'm concerned, I'm always going to be cautious when people are on like have a good streak because maybe Monza really caters to their car.
Mhm.
Are we going to get the same performance next week or do we have, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And so I think what we had here was what the Ferrari can look like when Ferrari doesn't get in their way.
Okay.
So,
So you think this is also just because like strategy was okay?
I think their strategy worked out pretty great. I mean, obviously it helped to have 1 and 3 on the starting grid. But yeah, I don't think we heard any radio calls where somebody yelled at the engineer for a terrible idea or decision.
Yeah.
I thought it would get a little testy there, with the pit stop strategy. We had Charles Leclerc pit first, and it looked like he was going to undercut his own teammate, but Carlos Sainz ended up in front of him anyways. So I thought that might have, caused a little tension. But no, at the end, they just said, hey, you guys, whoever wants that podium, go get it. And
Yeah.
hey, I think let this be a lesson for Ferrari. Just stay out of the way and let those guys race. I
Yeah.
think it's a best case scenario for all parties involved.
It was
Um,
so beautiful.
so yeah, it was a great performance. It was fun to watch. Um, Now, is this something that we can build off if you're Ferrari, or was it more of a fluke?
I'm in more of camp that it was a fluke.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay,
I don't believe in a turnaround like that.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound a little out of character for me here.
Okay.
But I'm actually starting to believe in this Ferrari team. Now, it sounds out of nowhere. We have zero reason for me to actually be saying this,
It's your
but
gut. It's your
it's
heart.
sometimes you just throw all of logic and reason and stats and history
Yep. Yep.
out of the window,
I'm with you.
and you just follow your gut. But no, this past race did show me something here. I think it's like I was saying, Ferrari, stay out of your own way, and you have two great drivers who are in a good car. Who, if you stay out of their way, they can at the very least be fighting for a podium, which I think is a very reasonable expectation for Ferrari. Now, we saw them fighting for the podium against it was Max, Sergio, and then they were fighting for the podium for them between themselves.
Yeah.
So their competition, though, of course, Red Bull has this thing locked away.
Yeah.
No real contest in the Constructors' Cup there. But we do have an interesting battle forming here between Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren. McLaren is somewhat a is a kind of a distant
Yeah.
fourth, but I think they had a nice bit of momentum there. We had, I think, 2 races in a row where we talked glowingly about McLaren,
Yeah.
and that was fun, man. We're gonna look back at that time.
Yeah. It
We
was
should.
good for me.
I enjoyed it too. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it too. But no, McLaren seems to be cooling off a little bit. I
Mhm.
still think, Oscar Piastri had a bad break there with his dust up with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. He
Um,
still got fastest lap.
yeah, there you go. Hey, that counts for something.
Yeah.
But no, I think we have an interesting battle here. And my question to you is, how do you see it playing out? You can go any direction you want with that question.
I think it's gonna end up being Mercedes just because of the consistency. Because they've still been consistent.
Okay, well, so Mercedes right now they are leading this thing. They have is I'm sorry, I have to pull up the standings because I completely forgotten where where Aston Martin is right now. Like I'm not even considering them in this, even
Oh,
though
Aston Martin's still fourth.
okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't
Oh my
sure.
God, they're 100 points up on McLaren.
Hold on. Whoa. You're telling me that Aston Martin, a team that I had completely written off and forgotten about, is still ahead of McLaren?
You know who that is, buddy? That's Mr.
All
Fernando
Fernando.
Alonso right there.
All 217 points right there, I think is I think 200 out of the 217 points
Yeah,
are
my
Fernando
God.
Alonso. But no, I have to apologize to Fernando over there. I forgot his name earlier, and I forgot his team was sitting at fourth in this battle. But let's continue to pretend that Aston Martin doesn't exist in this
Yeah,
scenario
I'm still
and
going with
talk about
Mercedes.
McLaren versus Ferrari versus Mercedes. Um, I actually think so. I said I was starting to believe in Ferrari, and I actually think they can leap up a little bit. They're not too far behind Mercedes in this second
Mhm.
place battle, and I think we'll see them towards the end. It'll come down to those last 2 races between
Yeah, we
Mercedes
won't though.
and Ferrari, and I still think Mercedes is going to hold on to it, but it's going to be close
Okay.
because
Okay.
I am starting to believe in Ferrari. McLaren just a little too late there.
Yeah.
If we had this vault earlier in the season, then maybe they'd be in this thing too. But now with 9 races left, that's a lot of ground to cover up. Unless we
Yeah.
get some double podiums
Ooh. Yeah,
out of
probably.
out of your boys in McLaren. No double
Yeah.
podiums
Yeah.
in the near future.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
Although I keep seeing people saying that Piastri will probably get a podium by the end of the season. I don't know what they're basing that on, but I see it a lot.
by the way, I think I've asked you this at least 3 times now. Are you sold on Piastri yet?
um, yeah, but I don't think not.
Yes, we got a
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, essentially yes.
Okay, there we go. Hey,
Yeah.
I respect you for holding out for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I understand that feeling. But no, let's dive into this lightning segment where we just blast through some topics. In case whatever. This is just throw anything at the wall and see if it sticks. But I do want to start talking about Lewis Hamilton and his performance there,
Mhm.
mainly because I just want to say Mercedes in general got to stop sounding like a bunch of haters. I know
Mhm.
this seems to be a theme here in this episode where I'm calling out the haters. I don't know if you saw what they were saying. Lewis Hamilton before this race, and in all likelihood, this was taken out of context and
Oh, is it this?
ran with it. But he was basically dogging on Sergio Perez out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Felt completely out of nowhere, out of character for Lewis, saying he's had better teammates than Max Verstappen. Which,
Yeah.
okay, I guess that's not something you generally brag about. I think.
Yeah.
But no, that's also, I mean, kind of obvious, right? Max Verstappen, I don't know if it's him compared to his teammates that he makes his teammates look pretty bad,
Yeah.
or just
Because he
his
hasn't.
teammates haven't performed well. But I mean, yeah, I guess.
Because we've had who's Max's teammates have been Ricardo, Albon, and Sergio, right?
Yeah, he had Daniel Ricciardo in there. He had Albon. He had Pierre Gasly. I
Oh
think
yeah,
he had a stint in there. So yeah, Max is run through these teammates, and hey, they're all solid drivers. Can't
yeah.
really take anything away from them. But
So I do kind of get like, well, actually, no, they're outperforming Valtteri right now. So I'd say, yeah, never mind.
mhm. Yeah, I I think I kind of get where Lewis was coming from with that in
Yeah,
saying, "Hey, I had to battle my own teammate in in when I was dominating.
yeah,
Max doesn't have to worry about that." Which Sergio, are
yeah.
you just gonna take that?
That's pretty rough. Well, so it does bring me to something I've been thinking about because I wanted to ask you because you're more familiar with sports. Does this like behavior like remind you of any other like goats who are like coming off their peak?
So I think with all of these legends that we have in these sports, it's common, I think, for them to. Well, first, I want to say this: that these guys are all some of the most robotic, well media trained individuals that we have, just because of how long they've had all of this attention. So for Lewis to slip up like this, which I think this was a slip up,
Yeah,
it was a little out of character. But no, I don't remember seeing another legend, I guess, in their own sport just going into somebody who is far who is far inferior in skill level. You're punching down here, Lewis Hamilton. Why are you going after Sergio Perez of all people?
yeah,
But no, it was just a little eyebrow raising moment there. Let's hope we don't see more of that. Toto
yeah.
Wolff also said something about Max Verstappen's record and how it doesn't really matter. It's something you'll see. It's something you just see on Wikipedia.
Oh, Toto.
But oh man, Mercedes
Yeah, that
not
was
not
bad.
not
That's
showing
bad.
not showing our best faces here. What's going on with Mercedes?
Well, yeah, they're feeling bad, but that's not an excuse.
Well, hey, Yuki, poor Yuki.
Dude,
Uh,
this is yeah. Do you think he's gonna have a seat next year? I mean, that wasn't his fault. Like that was engine trouble.
yeah, I think he's earned one more shot at this. One
Okay.
more. He's shown improvement this year. This wasn't his fault. Oh man, when I just saw that. Also, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about this young man by the name of Liam Lawson, who,
Yeah,
hey, P11 in an
yeah.
AlphaTauri for the young guy is it's impressive. We'll see. That seat is gonna it's a seat warmer, but
Yeah.
hey, we'll see. Maybe he'll pull a Nick DeVries and end up on a grid
And
next year.
completely disappoint when he gets it.
Oh man. Um, let's see. Anything else? Anything else we missed? We
I think we got it. I mean,
we got it.
we
Yeah.
talked about all the exciting stuff.
Logan Sargent P13. That's
Yeah.
that's about right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Actually, wait. We didn't. I don't think we gave Alex Albon enough credit here. We mentioned him
Yeah, we
earlier
just
in
talked
this
about his
episode.
qualifying.
Yeah, but the great performance. He held up. He had Lewis Hamilton behind him. He had Lando Norris behind him. That is a serious mismatch, by the way, the
Yeah.
Williams versus the Mercedes and the McLaren, even though Lewis Hamilton got past him pretty easily. But yeah, that was, hey, I think if we're giving flowers, which I almost forgot to do, we gave them to Max Verstappen. Can we do double
I want to do
flowers?
triple then.
Who's the third one?
I want to give it to Carlos.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's fair. But now
Dude,
now
they
we're
were
starting.
on something this weekend, man.
This isn't a participation award we're giving out here. This means something.
Yeah.
These flowers that we hand out.
Because we don't normally do multiple flowers, but
Of
I feel
course.
like this time they earned it.
All right, you're right. We have to make an exception because we had some great performances this week, and overall a great race, a fun race, and we will be back here, of course, following every race. So make sure to tune in. We got what's up next? What's up next on our calendar?
We
Real quick, I got it
have.
pulled up. Oh, it's Singapore. We got Singapore on the 15th. Nice little
Oh, so
8
is
a.m.
that a
start
1
time
a.m.?
for us. We'll be there. Make sure you tune in. Peace.
Adios.